At 77, Billy Crystal finally tells the truth about Rob Reiner. Billy Crystal was born William Edward Crystal on March 14, 1948, right in the busy heart of Manhattan, New York City, and then he grew up on Long Island. He came from a warm home that was always filled with music and the exciting world of show business. His father, Jack Crystal, worked as a jazz promoter and got to team up with some of the greatest musicians ever, like the amazing Billie Holiday and the incredible Duke Ellington. Because of his dad's special connections, little Billy got to hang around real performers, smoky nightclubs, bright stages, and all kinds of creative energy from a very young age. That magical world left a big, permanent mark on his young mind and helped shape his imagination forever. Then, when Billy was just 15 years old, something very sad happened. His father passed away suddenly. It was a heartbreaking moment that changed everything for him. That deep loss taught him what real sadness feels like and made him grow up much faster than most kids. Years later, that painful experience gave his comedy a special emotional depth that made people feel things, not just laugh. Crystal started college at Nassau Community College, and after that, he transferred to the famous New York University. There, he studied acting seriously at the well-known Tisch School of the Arts. Those drama classes built him a really solid base in acting, writing scripts, and performing on stage. Because of that strong training, he could easily jump back and forth between super silly comedy and very touching, heartfelt drama all through his long career. Billy Crystal first became a big name in the 1970s thanks to his role as Jody Dallas on the Super Bowl ABC sitcom called Soap. Jody was one of the very first openly gay characters ever shown on regular American television, and the show treated him with real care, understanding, and a lot of layers. Crystal played the part in a brave, careful way that felt fresh and smart back then. Even though the role caused some arguments and upset people, it proved he had courage and could mix big laughs with genuine human feelings. Around the same time, Crystal was also sharpening his skills as a stand-up comedian and a master of impressions. Fans went crazy for his lightning-fast timing and how perfectly he could copy famous people and make them feel so real. When he joined Saturday Night Live in the early 1980s, he became part of comedy history. His funny characters, like the smooth-talking Fernando Llamas who always said, "You look marvelous," and his spot-on Sammy Davis Jr. impressions turned into things the whole country quoted and loved. Those bits showed how Crystal could poke fun at celebrities but still do it with warmth and respect. The late 1980s and the 1990s turned out to be Billy Crystal's shining golden years in movies. He proved he was way more than just a funny guy. He could carry a whole film as the main star and show a wide range of real emotions. His role as Harry in When Harry Met Sally in 1989 is still one of the most classic and beloved romantic comedies ever made. Playing Harry Burns, Crystal brought sharp wit, sweet vulnerability, and honest real-life feelings that changed how people saw romantic leading men in movies. That huge hit movie turned him into a true Hollywood superstar and showed everyone how beautifully he could talk about love, friendship, and what it means to be human, all with smart humor and truth. After that success, he kept making unforgettable movies like City Slickers in 1991, which even got him an Academy Award nomination, Mr. Saturday Night in 1992, Forget Paris in 1995, and Analyze This in 1999. In those films, he often explored big ideas like growing older, figuring out what it means to be a man, dealing with regrets, and finding ways to make things right again. Crystal handled those serious topics with a gentle touch and a lot of self-awareness that made them feel real and moving. He also brought his charm to kids and families by voicing Mike Wazowski in Pixar's super-popular Monsters, Inc. franchise. His bouncy, fast-talking, big-hearted monster showed that his talent works for every age group and that he can stay fun and fresh no matter how much time passes. Billy Crystal's name will always be connected to the Academy Awards since he hosted the Oscars an amazing 9 times. Almost everyone agrees he ranks as one of the absolute best hosts in the whole history of the show. His opening monologues were full of fancy musical numbers, clever jokes that made fun of things in a nice way, and playful teasing of all the Hollywood stars. Crystal turned the Oscars into a joyful, welcoming party that brought famous people and regular viewers together through smiles and laughter instead of drama or fights. Even with all the movie and TV success, Crystal never stopped loving live theater. That's where his passion for performing in front of a real audience really lights up. His solo Broadway shows, especially the heartfelt 700 Sundays, shared very personal stories about his family, losing loved ones, falling in love, and holding on to special memories. Those quiet, thoughtful performances let people see a softer, more serious side of him. They showed that his true superpower isn't only making crowds laugh, it's also making them feel seen, understood, and less alone. Then, in an exciting late career moment that reminded the world why he stayed so loved for so many years, Billy came back to Broadway in 2022 with Mr. Saturday Night. This was a full musical version of his own hit movie from years before. He didn't just repeat the old story, he bravely took on the huge job of both writing the entire show and starring as the lead. He poured real emotion, plenty of laughs, and raw, honest truth into every scene. The production turned into a beautiful celebration of his whole life in comedy and performance. It mixed big fun with deep thinking, and it earned him important Tony Award nominations for Best Actor in a Musical and Best Book of a Musical, a super rare double honor that proved how talented he is both on stage and as a writer. Outside the bright lights of the theater, Crystal's creative side keeps going strong through his books. Over the years, he has written 5 books full of his quick wit, warm heart, and smart observations. They give readers a close, personal peek at the real man behind all the jokes. The most special one is his open and very entertaining memoir called Still Foolin' 'Em, which came out in 2013. In that book, he looks back at his wild ride through show business with lots of humor, complete honesty, and a kind, generous spirit. When you put his big Broadway successes together with his books, you see a true artist who never stops growing, creating new things, and winning people's hearts. Even after so many decades in the spotlight, he keeps finding fresh, surprising ways to make audiences smile and feel happy. Billy Crystal's home life has always been built on loyalty, steadiness, and deep love, qualities that match the warm, human touch he brings to every role he plays. Back on June 4, 1970, long before anyone knew his name would be famous, Billy married his high school sweetheart, Janice Goldfinger. They started their life together when his career was brand new and the future was still uncertain. That marriage became one of the strongest and longest-lasting in all of show business. In an industry where most relationships don't last, the Crystals' love story stands as a quiet, powerful example of real commitment, mutual respect, and a lifetime of shared memories. Billy often talks with so much affection about where his ideas about love came from. He gives credit to his own parents, who showed him what a happy marriage looks like. He remembers his mom and dad always looking like they truly enjoyed being together. That sweet, simple picture stayed in his heart from when he was a kid. Watching their obvious love, teamwork, and fun with each other became the perfect model for his marriage with Janice. He never saw marriage as something boring or fixed. Instead, he learned that love is something alive that you work on every single day. Through being good company, sharing laughs, staying patient, and facing tough times side by side. Those quiet lessons shaped both his family life and the way he handled huge success. Billy and Janice raised 2 wonderful daughters together, and each one found her own creative way in the world. Their older daughter, Jennifer Crystal Foley, stepped into acting just like her dad. She appeared in TV shows and movies, but she built her own special path separate from his giant fame. Their younger daughter, Lindsay Crystal, chose to work behind the scenes as a producer, helping make entertainment happen in her own valuable way. Even when Billy's career got really big, he and Janice always made family their top priority. They created a normal, loving, supportive home for their girls, no matter how much attention came from being famous. As the years went by, the family grew bigger with the arrival of grandchildren. Billy loves being a grandfather more than almost anything and often says it's one of life's sweetest gifts. It reminds him how time moves forward in the most beautiful, meaningful way. For decades, Billy and Janice made their home in the peaceful Pacific Palisades neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. That area is known for its pretty nature, calm streets, closeness to the ocean, and easy access to the busy city. Their house wasn't just a place to live, it was their cozy, private sanctuary full of a lifetime of special memories, happy family moments, quiet times for thinking and creating, and all the little private joys that nobody else saw behind his public famous face. Living in Pacific Palisades gave them a strong feeling of roots and steadiness, even when everything in Hollywood kept changing around them. That sense of safety and home got turned upside down in January 2025 when a terrible fire swept through the Palisades area and completely destroyed their beloved house. The loss hurt far more than just losing walls and furniture. It wiped away decades of irreplaceable memories, personal treasures, and one-of-a-kind keepsakes in one awful day. For Billy and Janice, the fire marked the sad closing of a huge chapter that had held so much of their married life and family story. Still, even in the middle of that heartbreak, the power of their more than 50-year partnership shone through clearly. Friends and fans who know them said that if any couple could face such a painful loss and come through it together, it would be Billy and Janice. Their love began long before fame ever arrived, grew strong on shared values, and was tested again and again by time. Now at 77, Billy Crystal has reached an age where looking back on life feels natural and important. Along with those reflections, he has finally opened up and started talking more freely and deeply about the people who helped shape who he became. One of the most special people in that story is Rob Reiner, who became one of the closest and most important creative partners Billy ever had in his whole career. For many years, Crystal spoke about Rob with warmth but always kept some things private. But now, after so much time has passed and with a clearer view of everything, he feels ready to share the full, honest truth about their friendship and work together. Not in any dramatic or negative way, but in a warm, real, human way that shows how much their history, teamwork, and movies still mean. People always ask me what it was really like working with Rob, Crystal says, and the truth is, it was one of the most defining experiences of my life. He explains that Reiner wasn't just some director giving orders from behind the camera. He was a true creative partner who built an atmosphere full of trust, excitement, and curiosity. Crystal says Rob had a natural gift for understanding comedy that went way deeper than just writing punchlines. Rob knew that the best comedy comes straight from real characters and total honesty, he remembers. He never wanted jokes that felt forced or empty. He wanted every laugh to grow naturally from who the people in the story truly were. Crystal looks back especially at the filming of When Harry Met Sally and remembers how Reiner kept encouraging him to dig deeper emotionally than he ever had before. He challenged me constantly, Crystal admits. Not in a mean or bossy way, not to prove he was in charge, but always to help me become better. Reiner, he says, had this calm, quiet confidence that made actors feel completely safe to try risky, new things. He'd look right at you and gently ask, "What if we try it this way?" And all of a sudden you'd uncover a feeling or a moment you didn't even know you had inside. One of the things Crystal now happily shares is how much emotional understanding and sensitivity Rob brought to every scene. Rob is a very sensitive guy, he says. People notice the big beard, the loud laugh, the strong presence, but underneath all that is someone who really, truly listens. Crystal believes that listening power is exactly why Reiner's movies still touch people's hearts so many years later. He knew exactly when to speak up and when to stay quiet and let the actors find the truth themselves. Crystal laughs. That's a rare gift that not many directors have. Even at 77, Crystal is honest enough to admit their partnership wasn't perfect every single day. "We didn't always agree," he says openly. "There were definitely days when I thought, I don't know if this scene is going to work at all." But he quickly adds that those tough moments were actually important for making the final movie so great. The friction was creative, he explains. We were both fighting hard for the movie to be its best, not for our own egos. Looking back now, Crystal sees every disagreement as proof of how much they respected each other. If Rob didn't care so deeply, he wouldn't have pushed back so strongly. And if I didn't trust him completely, I wouldn't have really listened. Perhaps the biggest, most powerful truth Billy shares is how much Rob Reiner changed the way he thinks about telling stories. Rob taught me that comedy can be romantic, thoughtful, deep, and even a little painful sometimes, he says. It doesn't have to be loud or crazy to make people laugh. Sometimes it just has to feel true. Crystal gives Reiner a lot of credit for helping him grow from a mostly stand-up comic and funny impressionist into a complete, serious actor who could carry big emotional roles. He saw me in a way I didn't yet see myself, Crystal admits with gratitude. Now, with the clear wisdom that only many years can bring, Billy Crystal speaks about Rob Reiner with pure thankfulness and real affection. I owe him a lot, he says simply. Not just for the success in my career, but for building my confidence as an artist. He believes their movies turned out so special and lasting because everything was built on true friendship. We trusted each other completely, Crystal says. And that deep trust is exactly why people still talk about those films today. They feel something real in every scene. At 77, Billy Crystal has no interest in changing old stories or picking fights with the past. Instead, he is finally telling the full truth about Rob Reiner by celebrating how meaningful their connection was and how honest and heartfelt their work together always stayed. If you're really lucky in life, Crystal reflects, you get the chance to work side by side with someone who truly changes you for the better. Rob changed me, and I'll always be thankful for that.